So let me take this opportunity to welcome all of you to our 2025 virtual annual conference. This is day two, part two of our conference together. And as a reminder, our overall goal is for you, our IFC, World Bank colleagues, external partners, to really have a better understanding and awareness of the tools and resources, experience, and expertise that we offer and the direction we're heading. This is all to strengthen our collaboration. So yesterday we shared an overview of our work over the past year. We dug into a little bit about what's new and different and changing in ALP, and we explained new tools and approaches. Today we're pivoting a little and we're going to share about how ALP is implementing new and innovative ways through integration with World Bank partners and projects and other external partnerships, and what we're learning from those experiences and how we're evolving because of it. We will also launch a gender guidance notes that we've developed with our AOP has developed with our gender team. And our last session is a very important session, really looking at agri-entrepreneurship as a new and important growing practice area. So you see on the screen that we have a fast-paced agenda. It's condensed because we know everyone is busy. We really appreciate your time and that you're stepping away from your normal responsibilities and day-to-day work to be with us together. And with that, I wanted to maybe hand it back over to Alan, if you had any other framing remarks before we get into our first session. Alan, over
No,
to you.
yeah, great. Thank you, Heather. So I just wanted to actually summarize some of the key outcomes from yesterday. So if you're just joining today, you won't have missed out on anything. But you'll see it was pretty complementary to a lot of the things that just came up from Anoop's address. But the first point was that we collectively are in a period of big and fundamental change. I think in the course of this year, we've seen the collapse of the traditional aid industry, provoked by USAID and then FCDO and the Dutch and the Danes and others kind of quickly following. So the traditional donor resources are not available in the way they used to be, and we have to do a lot of rethinking around how some of our programs get financed because of that. The second thing, of course, is the ongoing merger or joining forces with the World Bank, however it's defined, and that will obviously have implications which we're still, we don't really know for sure what that means, but it'll certainly, in practical terms, we'll be doing much more work with World Bank colleagues. I think that's clear. And then, of course, Agri Connect, which was launched in the annual meetings just last week. I think one of the takeaways from yesterday was that obviously all of these reforms and changes can be unsettling, disconcerting, but at least from those who are involved in working with the ALP and capacity building for smallholder farmers, integrating smallholders into supply chains, the conclusion was that the good news is we're actually central to this new agenda. So that's good for us, but that comes with it other issues, and the big challenge, of course, is scaling, which came up before. But a lot of the themes implicit in AgriConnect, the private sector angle, livelihoods, aggregation, co-ops, integration of supply chains, working in a public-private kind of way, they're all issues which we have touched upon, but I think as that catchphrase more and differently, maybe we need to look at what we have been doing and see how can this be scaled, how can this be made more impactful. So point number one was this whole issue of change and how we respond to it. I think linked to that, the second big takeaway from yesterday was this issue that although we are, in a sense, the work we've been doing is central to this new agenda, we can't just be complacent. We actually have to articulate how we're going to contribute to this agenda. So I think some more work collectively on sharpening that business case, explaining, in a sense, what is the impact that we can deliver from a revamped ALP program. And I think that the key sort of slogan that we have is this farming as a business concept, which I think definitely carries well into this new agenda. And I did pick up from Anoop's thing this issue of complete solutions, and I think we need to also put on our thinking caps around that, because in a way we're offering a partial solution and we need to sort of see how that integrates with others. So if issue one was change, issue two was this issue, the impact messaging, which we need to refine and really, explain how our work building capacity with smallholders does contribute. Then the third point is, or summary point from yesterday, is this issue of, what are we actually trying to achieve? And just, you know, capacity building on its own isn't what we're trying to achieve. Our game is behavior change and, in a sense, a mindset shift towards this farming as a business concept. And we shouldn't lose sight of that kind of higher level outcome that we want to achieve. And then finally, I think this is definitely the key takeaway. We really need to position ourselves for growth and scaling. And that is a big challenge with no obvious, simple answer. I mean, some of the ideas that floated around yesterday involved, cost control. How do we maintain the quality of what we do? Because we've maintained high quality, but on a small scale. How do we avoid a kind of quality trade-off? Um, we've only got a limited team, so who are the partners and other counterparts in emerging markets that we need to really work with a lot more closely? We have, good progress in countries like Ethiopia, Cote d'Ivoire, but we need to expand those kind of local partnerships with others. We've been reaching out, we've had the EMEA relationship for a long time. We need new partnerships within the World Bank, but also with other agencies. EFAD is another one we'll be hearing about today. And then finally, this big theme for AgriConnect, the whole role of technology and digital. Once again, this is not new for us. We've been dabbling in digital for many years, but again, it comes back to this question of how does that actually scale, and how can we make that the initial steps that we've made, how can we make that a lot more effective and a lot more available to the community working on this. So Heather, I think I'll leave it at that, as those the 4 points. And for the benefit of the AI transcription, the 4 points were change, this impact messaging, trying to support behavior change, and positioning for growth and scaling. So back to you, Heather.
Thank you, Alan. We are only 31 minutes into our time together, and there's already been so many rich ideas that are bouncing around. So let's hold on to those as we get through the day.